In many ways, there's nothing really even very special about what we're about to do, but there is something I do want you guys to notice, and it's that when we multiply things like this out, we're always going to have what's called a complex conjugate, which means the imaginary portion is going to be repeated in both terms, but they're going to have opposite signs. And just the imaginary portion. And this is why. We've seen products like this enough to kind of see what's going to happen. I'm not going to treat it like anything special at first. I'll just go ahead and do what we normally do, which is just to multiply this x by both of these terms and this negative 5i times both of these terms. And we'll see that because of what's going on with these complex parts, these imaginary parts, we end up with an expression that has no imaginary numbers at all, which is pretty useful since most of the things we deal with, we want to get imaginary numbers out of them. So let's take this x and multiply it by both these parts. That'll give me x times the first x is x squared. X times the second term is, you could write the 5 and the x and the I in any order, but traditionally people go 5 and then x and then I. It doesn't really matter. But the x is times both of these things, and now we'll move on to this being multiplied by both of these things. So the negative 5i times the x, I could be like negative 5 with an x with an I, and then negative 5i times positive 5i will give me a negative 25i squared, and now we kind of see what happens. This term and this term are like terms, and they are exact opposites, so they will cancel each other out. And then this I squared, we know, is the same thing as a negative 1, so this term becomes a positive 25, and our final answer will be x squared plus 25. And now I've got an expression that has no complex or imaginary parts to it, just nice, pretty x's and numbers that we learned about in like 7th grade or maybe even 6th grade, and it's a nice thing. So that's what's going to happen. The next example looks a lot more complicated, but we're going to exploit some patterns to make that one work out well. So I definitely would check out that video as well, because it's definitely different from this in some ways, and in some ways it's the same. So check it out, and if you have questions, please email.